Many thanks for joining us on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Annetta Felix. We begin with the fresh attack by suspected herdsmen in Kamburu village, Riyam local government area of Plateau State. 1 soldier and 3 civilians have been confirmed killed in the attack, which occurred on Tuesday. Eyewitnesses say the attacker struck at about 1 p.m. and burnt down all the houses in the entire village. They were, however, overpowered by a combined team of soldiers, policemen and local security guards who engaged them in a battle for 4 hours. Confirming the incident, spokesperson of the State Police Command, Chilpev Tana, called for calm, saying security operatives have been deployed to the area. The attack follows a similar one in Taraba State, which left no fewer than 6 people dead. Still on security, the battle against insurgency suffered yet another setback after Boko Haram militants reportedly invaded a military formation in Borno State, killing 28 soldiers. Though the army is yet to confirm the attack, sources say the insurgents overpowered soldiers at the base in Gajiram and made away with ammunition and military trucks. Reports also say the insurgents abducted some soldiers during the attack. While the military is yet to release an official statement of the incident, Chief of Army Staff Tukur Buratai says the terrorists were only able to strike because the soldiers were complacent and uncommitted. In recent times, the Nigerian army has suffered many attacks from the Boko Haram sect, especially in Borno State. Just last week, insurgents hit a military formation in Borno, killing at least 6 soldiers. A total of 21 suspects have been arrested in connection with the attacks on some communities in Kona and ATC areas of Taraba. In a statement, Commanding Officer 20 Model Battalion SETI, Taraba State Lieutenant Colonel Mohammed Adamu, said the suspects were arrested in Tudiri community following a tip-off. According to the statement, the suspects have admitted to committing the crimes and will be handed over to the police for prosecution. Meanwhile, the state government has imposed a curfew on Jalingo, the state capital, from 4 p.m. to 6 a.m. daily. Hours after his abduction, the Oyo State Police Command has recovered the vehicle used to kidnap Dayo Adewale, son of the immediate past Minister of Health, Isaac Adewale. Adewale was abducted by unknown gunmen on Tuesday evening from his farm located at Iroko, a suburb of Ibadan, the state capital. The police, in a statement, said the vehicle was recovered by officers who are on the trail of the kidnappers. Spokesperson of the command, Olubenga Fadi, assures the force is working tirelessly to secure the release of the victim. The abductors are, however, yet to contact the victim's family for ransom. President Muhammadu Buhari has received a group of monarchs from the Kogi State Traditional Rulers Council at the council chambers of the presidential villa in Abuja. The monarchs, who were led by the Atta of Igala, Michael Idako, said their meeting with the president was to seek his support for Governor Yahaya Bello's re-election bid. They also pleaded with the president to appoint one of their own as a substantive minister in his cabinet.
The issue of endorsement is not here. The people at home had already endorsed His Excellency Alhaji Yahaya Bello for 2nd term. So we don't need to re-endorse him in Abuja here. All we needed to do was to represent him to His Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria. So we are happy. The President received us very well. He received our governor. The traditional rulers have reconfirmed their support for both the federal and the state government. And I'm happy to announce too, because our governor announced it there, that the last tranche of the Paris Club, which bailout fund of about 30.8 billion, has been approved. So the issue of salary arrears, the issue of allowances and pensions will be put to rest by His grace before the election. So we are confident that this government, this federal government, we are going to have a good deal with it, and by the grace of God, since we are supporting the president, it is natural and normal for him to pay us back in the right coins. So we're happy to announce to our people at home that Mr. President has promised to treat us very well. And the chairman of our traditional council said, we are not comfortable with a minister of state, so our status in the federal executive must be upgraded. I think that is one of our shopping lists. It will be upgraded so that we have a full-fledged minister this time around, probably by the grace of God, Minister of Finance.
Senate President Ahmed Lawan says the 9th National Assembly is committed to working with the federal arm of government to ensure good governance for Nigerians. Addressing State House correspondents after a meeting with Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, Lawan also revealed that the leadership of the National Assembly has received the support of other parties in the country.
As a new National Assembly, we have received a bipartisan mandate from across the parties. The PDP, the YPP voted for us, and we believe that this is time and opportunity for us to consolidate the kind of support that we receive across the political parties in the National Assembly. And we believe that we must remain united in the National Assembly. We must remain focused for us to be able to deliver those legislative interventions that will be necessary for good governance in the country. The summary of it is that we have come to see our leader, the Vice President, who works with His Excellency, the President, to pledge our total support for this administration to ensure that Nigerians get a very good deal and the country is taken to the next level.
President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, has also assured Nigerians that the 9th Assembly will carry out its oversight functions without bias. Lawan gave the assurance while addressing members of the Senate President Corps, led by its chairman, Ezra Taibo, in Abuja on Wednesday. He promised that the Parliament will ensure effective oversight of government ministries and agencies to ensure quality delivery of service to Nigerians.
We are going to be absolutely focused, absolutely determined to ensure that Nigerians are taken to the next level. As a legislature, we also have that enviable role of oversighting the executive arm of government. That much we will do, and in fact, we will even try to structure our oversight process not as we did it before. We want to see an oversight that is structured from conception to the presentation of reports by our committees to the plenary of the Senate at all times.
Some of the reasons why we decided to embark on this courtesy visit was one, to actually make it a platform on which we were going to extend a congratulatory message to you. Secondly, to also come up with workable strategies which would ensure that we have a harmonious working relationship in the 9th National Assembly, and to also ensure that we also get your cooperation in ways that would enhance our productivity level as members of the Senate Press Corps.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is holding a nationwide post-election review forum. The goal of the exercise is to assess the performance of the electoral body during the conduct of the presidential, governorship, senatorial, and House of Representative polls across all 36 states of Nigeria and the Federal Capital Territory. Speaking on Wednesday at the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Ikeja, INEC's Southwest National Commissioner, Shoyobi Adedeji, says the review will focus on logistics and operations of the election. Shoyobi also says the review will be conducted in 2 phases and will be completed in August.
This is taking place in all the 37 states, 37 units of the Federation. And what we are trying to do is to take stock of all the activities, both logistically and operationally, for 2019, to find out what went right and what went wrong. That way, we can have lessons to input into the future elections, and we can see our areas of strength and areas of weakness. We'll look at where we have to improve upon, we'll see where we can consolidate. That, in a nutshell, is the essence of this review exercise. You are aware that even the external observers, the foreign observers have started bringing in their reports. We're going to have a session with the local observers. We're going to have with civil society organizations. We're going to have with the press. We're going to have with the political parties. We're going to have even with the electorate themselves, and find out find a very thorough critique of this particular election, at least that will enable us to move forward in a very positive manner in the electoral process in the country.
The National Democratic Institute, NDI, and the International Republican Institute, IRI, wants Nigeria to implement recommendations that will make future elections in the country more credible and acceptable. The two US-based International Election Observer Mission to Nigeria's 2019 election, in its assessment report released in Abuja, said the February to March election did not meet the expectation of Nigerians. This next report tells us more.
The NDI and IRI had in June released a joint report made by its observer mission on the 2019 general election. Now, the final recommendations of that report has been made public to the media in Abuja. Both groups in the report observed that the 2019 polls did not meet the expectations of most Nigerians, stressing that the sudden postponement of the February 16 elections undermines public confidence in the electoral body. The bodies believe issues such as political godfatherism, free access to public funds by elected officials, and low participation of women and young people in politics must be addressed to enhance credibility of future elections in the country.
The level of desperation to get into political office itself is something that has to be addressed. The fact is that the stakes are just too high. The perquisites of electoral office in Nigeria are stupendous. So people are willing to kill and to die in order to get into those positions.
Many of the recommendations that have been made in the past, including recommendations made by Nigerian-led initiatives, have not been implemented. And there is a sense that if these recommendations were implemented, they could improve significantly the conduct of elections in Nigeria. We know that INEC is undertaking some improvements, some innovations with regards to voter registration and the voter card, and those are good. But on the end side of it, the transmission of election results still slows down the process considerably.
Democracy has not been working very well for people in Nigeria. The quality or lack of it, of the governance that we dispense to our citizens is very, very low, especially at the state and local levels. People who are very close to their constituents know that, Nigerians are eking out a living in spite of government. And when people don't feel the impact of governance, they feel no stake in actually coming forward to cast their votes or to participate in elections.
We know there were pockets of violence across the country, and these pockets of violence affected both the ruling party and the main opposition. The deficiencies that were mentioned, the drawbacks that were mentioned, also affected both the ruling party and the main opposition. So when they try to spin the story to appear as if all of these reports of these international organizations, observers, are a domination of the ruling party, is a lie. It's actually a domination of every major player in the political system.
The Independent National Electoral Commission has promised to look at the report and recommendations thoroughly and adopt any aspect of it that will improve the country's electoral process. Oyin Adekunle, TV360, Abuja.
Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum says he's making efforts to strengthen the capacity of communities in the state to combat security challenges. Zulum revealed this while speaking to State House correspondents after meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari alongside other APC governors in Abuja. The governor also noted that the government is working on improved funding and military collaboration to ensure safety of citizens in Borno State.
I'm here to sit with Mr. President and discuss on how possible best the federal government will strengthen the existing situation on ground to improve upon the current security situation on ground and the means of livelihood to the entire people of Borno State. Basically, we wanted to address the root causes of the insurgency especially the issue of access road, the issue of access to farmlands, and the issue of strengthening our civilian JTFs and as well as the military to perform their job better than before. While security issues are issues that need not to be discussed anyhow, but the government of Borno State is collaborating well with the military and other paramilitary to ensure that the citizens are being protected. Especially on my own part, I'm trying to strengthen the local people, that means the community, to be resilient enough, especially by providing them with logistics like vehicles and others, so that they should also make some certain surveillances, support the military. But by and large, our discussions with the military have gone well, and we are doing everything possible within our reach to ensure that stability has come to the people of Borno State.
As Nigeria joins the rest of the world to celebrate International Sickle Cell Day, health experts in the country are calling for more awareness campaign on the disease, with research showing that Nigeria is the worst affected in sub-Saharan Africa. Our correspondent Adeshawa Odushoga has been finding out the reason for the growing figure and the possible remedy to the ailment. Take a listen.
Every year, over 150,000 children are born with sickle cell in Nigeria. The country bears the biggest burden of the scourge globally, recording about 40 million Nigerians as healthy carriers of the sickle cell gene.
In our bodies, there are so many different types of hemoglobins that different people can have, right? So S is the most common abnormal hemoglobin. A is the normal. However, there are other abnormal hemoglobins such as C, like I said, such as thalassemia, such as D, there's G, there's H, there's so many. But in our own environment, what we tend to see is S and C. So a mother who is AC, for instance, and a father who is AS can produce a child who is SC, you know. So, and in that case, that child has sickle cell disease, not sickle cell anemia. So sickle cell anemia is the more severe form of the disease in which the patient has both S and S, you know, two S's in their gene pool.
Sickle cell patients over time have had to deal with stigmatization from the society. A lot of time believes avid that most sickle cell patients tend to die young. But Oyeshola and Fatima are one of many survivors who explain how they were able to scale through the hurdles.
I've not been affected by the stigmatization because my mom, I was brought up with so much confidence, you know. In as much as she didn't want me playing in the rain, she didn't stop me from doing my house chores. She gave me a good beating when I deserved one, you know. So she treated me normally like my brother, though I couldn't do some rigorous things. And she told me you could be anything you want to be, doctor, a lawyer. And we had a few people that she knew that had sickle cell who were married with kids. So she always told me, this person is doing so well, you're not going to be different. So I grew up with that mindset that I can actually do anything if I set my mind to it. And to the glory of God, I really don't look like it. I don't have some of the physical characteristics. So I really didn't suffer the stigmatization.
I still experience the stereotype till now. I still do. But I don't really care. I really do not care about how you feel about me or anything. They put me down so many times, like when it comes to school, some activities and everything, but I really do not care. And one I could really remember vividly was when I was in secondary school. I was considered for a post, and one of the teachers was like, oh, do you guys know that this girl is sick? You can't put her through the stress, because they think I can't handle it. But with time, I think people have started to understand that irrespective of your genotype, you should not treat anybody lesser.
Bone marrow transplant is one of many identified cure for sickle cell disease, but not, of course, without side effect.
One of the side effects is infertility. Yeah, so you can imagine a young boy of 12, you know, who has this chance, right, at a cure and gets cured. But then, you know, 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, when he now wants to start a family, realizes that all his sperm, you know, or the faculties for reproduction can no longer perform those functions because of the kinds of drugs that we give before doing a transplant. It can be fatal. You know, it can end up causing death. It can cause secondary cancers to come up. So you're trying to cure something and then something else comes up.
Government negligence and inadequate support system has become a challenge for foundations, as there are no established programs for sickle cell disease.
Government is not doing enough. You can see that the hospitals are not equipped enough for us. You know, because we're so many, you would think that the government hospitals should have a dedicated emergency ward for people like us. But I personally have been very ill, and I went to Lut, and they told me no bed. I was registered in Lut in 1984 when I was 2. I've been going there since then. But I went there that day, and they said no bed. I was frustrated. I had to leave. So things like that. And you see that in advanced countries, when a warrior has a crisis, the ambulance takes them straight to the hematology ward. But in Nigeria, you still have to struggle for bed space.
According to the World Health Organization, Sub-Saharan Africa has the largest number of sickle cell cases, and experts have continued to attribute this to ignorance. To change this narrative, government and stakeholders have been charged to establish programs and, of course, raise awareness. Adeshawa Dushoga, TV360, Lagos, Nigeria.
You're still watching news now on TV360 Nigeria. We'll be right back after this break. Do stay with us. You're welcome back. Let's now join Fidelia Aguncha, who's standing by for business. Hello, Fidelia.
Hi, Annetta.
Please bring us up to speed with the latest in business at the moment.
Well, President of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Mansur Ahmed, says Nigeria's economy is still fragile despite progress recorded. Ahmed, who commended President Buhari for a job well done in redirecting the economy out of recession, however, stressed that a lot more needs to be done. The MAN leader made the comment after leading members of the National Council of MAN to visit the president at the State House in Abuja.
As you are aware, over the past 4 years during the first term, we have seen a lot of effort being made to redirect the economy and steer it in the direction of positive, sustained, inclusive growth. You would be aware that at the beginning of his first term, the country was in recession, and I think efforts was made to turn around and bring the country out of recession, which was done, I think, in 2017. But we do recognize that the economy is still fragile, and a lot more needs to be done in the second term to put the economy clearly on the path of sustained, inclusive, and continuing growth.
Up next is a review of the stock markets after this. Midweek trading at the NSE began on a positive note but turned sour at the 11th hour as the market crashed from 0.23% in the positive territory to 0.15% in the negative territory, but a sudden fall wasn't enough to stop the market breath from closing positive with 21 gainers and 19 losers. Well, the pack of losers is again led by Nestle Nigeria PLC, falling harder than it did yesterday, and this could be as a result of long-term investors selling off their shares and cashing out in the 30.517 billion naira dividends paid to investors by the company for the 2018 financial year. The second biggest loser is Seplat Petroleum Development Company, dropping by 16.4 naira, and this comes on the back of investigations that the company shortchanged the federal government by $1.8 billion and 8.8 billion naira from 2013 to 2017. It was also a bad day for Presco, falling by 5 naira, and Conoil, which depreciated by about 2 naira. Well, let's now move to the gainers chart. On the flip side, it was a rewarding day for Forte Oil. Right here, Dangote Sugar, ETI, that is this, and Access Bank of Nigeria. ETI is gaining by about 1 naira and Access appreciated by close to 3 naira. Well, in summary, this over 1.23 million shares worth more than 67 million naira were traded in 3,441 deals. And outside Nigeria, that's on the foreign scene, we can see that the FTSE is sharing the same fate as the NSE, closing in the reds, while the Dow and Nikkei are posting gains of 0.15% and 1.72% respectively. Well, that is from the world of business. It's back to Annetta Felix for the rest of the news.
Thanks for that update, Fidelia. A sad one there on the stock market, and even worse, a United Nations special report has found that the murder of Saudi Arabian journalist Jamal Khashoggi was premeditated. Khashoggi, who was 60, was killed shortly after entering the Saudi embassy in Istanbul on October 2018. In a highly anticipated report, the UN Special Investigator Agnes Callamard found that Khashoggi was a victim of a deliberate, premeditated execution and held Saudi Arabia responsible for the extrajudicial killing under international law. Meanwhile, Saudi minister has slammed the UN for the report, which is described as unfounded. And in sports, Brazilian star Neymar is set to miss 3 Champions League matches next season after UEFA confirmed a 3-match ban against him. The ban is punishment for insulting a referee following Paris Saint-Germain's loss to Manchester United. UEFA first imposed a ban in April before PSG contested the decision, but a final decision was delivered on Wednesday. And that's it from here on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. Many thanks for watching. Bye for now.